At 6 o'clock. Welcome to this specially called board meeting of the San Marcos CISD School Board. This is the San Marcos High School, and we have a quorum. We have 5 board members present. We have nobody signed up for public forum. So we're going to move right into item 4, which is consider the submission of a TASB advocacy agenda resolution. Do we have any comments, any questions, any suggestions on this item?
I
Ms.
had,
Cantu?
yes, I had Alicia copy what I received from Dax Gonzalez from TASB, and what he put together was a list of all the region service centers, well, all the regions, and listed them just in real short form. And so ours for Region 13 are teacher recruitment, retention, increased salaries, increasing the basic allotment, opposition to vouchers, education savings accounts, funding based on student enrollment, increased support for special education services, reduction and/or overhaul of required state tests. So we can choose to endorse these, or we could write some new ones up that do not sound like this.
And Ms. Viapondo, did you say that these are going to be voted on at SLI by?
By a different group that has already been selected, that was selected in our January conference. that we
Okay.
had in Austin.
So,
And they're gonna go over and probably group them together, so we can submit whatever is, we have already. And, they'll decide, but basically, they're gonna try to get everybody's, cause there'll be a lot of duplicates with all the school districts in
Right.
Texas.
There's a lot of repetition.
A lot of
If you look at all of the Region 7 regions, everybody has teacher recruitment, retention as their first one.
okay, and I think as Ms. Kane pointed out, we just need to have approved something by the midnight on the 17th, and the 17th is our next regular scheduled board meeting. So does anybody have anything that they want to propose to add to, for us to vote on tonight, or shall we just table this until after SLI when you all convene and see what comes out of that meeting and then discuss it at that point?
Well.
Mr. Redondo? Oh, wait.
Yeah, Ms. Halsey, I was just gonna say, based on what's coming out of Region 13, I have no issues with these 6, I guess, preliminary resolutions as far as legislative priorities go. So I don't know if Ms. Cantu can get those from DAX, so we can get copies and we can just, either it's the ones that make it out of SLI or these 6, I'm cool with either or.
Okay. Ms. Viapondo?
Yeah, it's just that those people that were appointed from all the regions, there's 3 out of our Region 13, and they'll get together and work on the language that comes out eventually, and we'll discuss them at the delegate assembly. So again, there's more
Okay.
I think,
a chance to redo it.
yeah, I'm good. I think these are things that we all have already talked about and agreed on, and it makes no sense to create our own language around it. I would just say for 2026, since we're talking about doing calendars, it would be helpful to have this on the calendar earlier in the year to talk about it in January and February. So if we do have anything specific 2 years from now, I did see that we can ask for amendments to them in the interim year, but that these even numbered years are the most important. So maybe it goes on the calendar next January too, but.
It's a good idea.
That's, yep. Okay, so then what should we, because we have this as an action item,
I don't know.
well, we don't actually, we just have consider, so.
No, it's just discussion.
Okay, so I think that makes sense, and then it doesn't seem like anybody has any opposition to the Region 13 proposals, and we will just wait and consider it again after SLI at the next board meeting. Great. Then item number 5, discussion and possible action regarding the Team of 8 training. I know we've been going around and around on this. I haven't come up with a magical solution for when we could do this month. I did talk to Mr. Shanks. He had 2 possible dates that would work for him. One of them, unfortunately, does not work for me. I have to be out of town at the end of the month. I'm not really sure if we're going to be able to do this month, y'all, or if we're going to have to punt and do it in August.
What was the second date that worked for Mr. Shanks?
The second date is the 22nd. Which,
I can do that. I don't know if you want to try and lock that in, but I'm okay with that one.
I can do that.
And then we'll need to check with Ms. Lopez. It's not ideal for me, but I think I can make it work.
Was there any other dates? I mean, I'm cool talking about a July day too, since we're here.
I mean, we talked about trying to do it on the 15th. We found out that we are not permitted to do that in the way that we were thinking of doing, or on the 14th at SLI. I'm sorry, on the 12th at SLI. And I think we need to find a Saturday. Fortunately, Saturdays in June are difficult. I cannot do the 15th for sure.
What day is this, the 22nd?
This Saturday.
I think
Saturday.
this Saturday is probably too soon to try to figure it out, so it's really leaving the 22nd or August.
Oh, because we're closed in July, whatever. Okay.
Second, I'm okay.
Do we want to talk about August 3rd or no? Worst case scenario?
If we go
Could
in
be an alternate,
August,
yeah. Could be an alternate in case something happens in.
the earliest I could do it in August is the 17th, sorry. I could do the 17th.
I can do the 17th too if we want to do that as like a plan B.
Does that work as an alternate? Ms. Viapando?
17th.
Okay.
But we're aiming for the 22nd of June. Is that correct?
I need to check with Ms.
With Ms. Lopez.
Lopez
But yeah.
and see if we can find a trainer. But in theory, yes, it would be that morning.
Okay.
That works for you, Ms. Cantu
Yes.
and Ms. Viapando?
Putting it in right now.
Okay, I will try to get that confirmed one way or the other this week. All right, discussion, and then let's move on to number 6, discussion and possible action to initiate the process to call a special election in relation to the tax rate. Mr. Doyle.
Good evening, Board. I'll pull up the presentation. You have it in your packet. I also gave another copy to everybody as well. There's one extra slide that I added to the end of the presentation. But in response to questions about what a voter approval tax rate election would look like in San Marcos CISD, wanted to give a little bit of background to what is called a VATR. Wanted to let everybody understand the timeline, the potential outcomes that we could benefit as a school district financially. So as you go through, you'll see a few things. So first and foremost, what is that voter approval tax rate election? It's an election that's required when a school district is going to modify their tax rate or increase that tax rate in any way. Remember that our M&O tax rate is based on TEA's calculated tax rate of your maximum Tier 1 compressed tax rate. I know I just said tax rate quite a bit. I apologize for that.
Did you say that again?
Yeah. So,
I thought that was a joke. Sorry.
but anywho, so we have to use our M&O tax rate, that is the MCR that TEA will provide us, okay, based on our property values. If we want to increase that tax rate anyway, we would have to go out to the voters. Keep in mind, we already have 6 golden pennies above that MCR that have been adopted in the past. So what we have available is a total of 2 more. Districts can adopt up to 8 golden pennies and then 9 copper pennies, but you have to get the golden pennies before you get the copper pennies. So I wanted to dive into our tax rate over the past few years, over the past history here in San Marcos CISD. You can see that since 2019, it's a little bit fuzzy and unclear there, but in your pack it's pretty clear that since 2019, our district has seen a decline in our total tax rate. When you look at this current year, our total tax rate that was adopted is 99.15 cents. So it continues to decline. So when you talk about pennies, when you talk about golden pennies, not going too far into the weeds here, those golden pennies are revenue beneficial in that they are not subject to recapture. Our district has moved out of the threat of recapture, particularly based upon the most recent change into House Bill 2, or excuse me, Senate Bill 2, That $100,000 homestead exemption has pushed us further away from it. But if we were ever to move into recapture, that revenue that's generated off of additional golden pennies is not subject to recapture. So keep in mind that, like I was saying, districts can adopt up to 5 golden pennies without going out for a Vader. But because we have the 6th already, if we were to adopt the 7th or 8th, it is necessary and needed that we would have to go out to a tax rate election. So the potential impacts of our tax rate. So this is based on property values that are certified estimates right now from our CADs. Keep in mind our certified values won't come in until July 25th from our CADs. But based on the data that we have now, based on the data that we have for our district, if you will, for PEEM submission and what have you, you can see that first row there, our current tax rate, our M&O rate is at 6802, our INS rate is 3113, for a total tax rate of 9915. Looking at next year, though, the floor MCR set by the state, by the TEA, is that 6169 figure. If you were to take that floor rate, add in our golden pennies, you can see that our projected floor rate, or projected M&O rate, if you will, for the district is 0.6769 cents. Our INS rate does decline a little bit, and that's based upon our bond payment plans. But you can see our projected INS rate for next year is 0.2906 for a total tax rate projection of 96.75. So if we were to add 1 golden penny, you would just add 1 cent to that total tax rate, right? So our total tax rate projected based on this data, if we were to add 1 golden penny, would be 0.9775, and then 0.9875 if we were to add 2 golden pennies. Based on the data that we have right now, you can see that with the additional 2 golden pennies, we are actually projecting to be lower than the current tax rate of this current fiscal year. So what's the potential revenue earned on these golden pennies? You can see that if we were to adopt 1 golden penny based upon voter approval, we're estimating somewhere between $1.38 million added to our revenue. If we were to pick up the 2nd golden penny for a total of 8, you can see that we're looking at roughly $2.75 million. Timeline is critical. You can see here that by June 30th, obviously we will pass our budget for next school year, but the July 5th date is the one that's particularly of interest this evening. The board must select an auditing firm to conduct an efficiency audit by July 5th. So if we were to want to move forward with the Vader, we would have to add a resolution agenda item for our June board meeting that you'll see here in a second. So that way we could pick up our efficiency auditor services. August 19th is a key date as well. That's the last date that districts going for a Vader must adopt their tax rate. That is the August board meeting that's scheduled. That's also the last date that we can order the election. So if this were to kick off here in June with the guidance of our board, we would need to do some legwork. I need to work with Alicia to reach out to our election agencies and get on board and get that going as well. No later than October 5th, our efficiency audit must be complete, posted to the website. The results will be discussed in an open board meeting. And then obviously then November 5th would be the uniform election for a district to hold a Vader. Looking at that efficiency audit timeline, again, has some intricate details. In doing research and reading the tax rate elections that have been previously successful in the last few years, the biggest catalyst, if you will, of being successful is making sure that districts adhere to the timeline and they don't miss a date, and there's several of them. And I wanted to make sure that everybody heard that and is aware of those timelines, right? You must conduct that efficiency audit. The board must select an auditor no later than 4 months before the election date. Again, that's at July 5th. The final audit report is due no later than 3 months from the auditing selection. The company that we have been in contact with do these efficiency audits all over the state of Texas. Moat Casey, who also have provided services for our finances and also even our academic side. So they're well trusted throughout the state and well trusted in our district as well. The final audit report must be due no later than 3 months. I already read that one. Districts must post their audit results on the website at least 30 days before the election, and the board must have that public hearing before the election. That date is arbitrary. We just have to have one. So that slide that I did add to the presentation is if the board were to have interest in calling this election, the first step would be selecting a company to provide that efficiency audit. That would need to be on the June 17th board meeting. The item as presented up here would be the one that would have to be in our board book along with the resolution to move forward with conducting that efficiency audit. Questions?
Questions? So as far as I understand, this item is written tonight, discussion and possible approval, but it seems to me that there's nothing actually to approve tonight. We just need to put this item on the regular June board meeting so that we can then discuss and vote on it then.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. That's the first step.
Mr. Arredondo?
Thank you, Ms. Halsey. Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. My first question is, Mr. Doyle, similarly to like bond propositions, are we allowed to call the proposition something? I think, several years ago during our last ballot initiative process, it was like Prop A, B, C, and D. And then before that, it was SMTX schools. Are we allowed to do that, or is there?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can find the answer for that. Alicia, are you aware of any?
Yeah, that's the way that we have called it,
Mhm.
but usually I can do the ones that we have done in the past.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's a Juan Cruz question either, but I would be interested in knowing if we approve this, we can call it something other than just tax ratification, election, or whatever that might be to
To
explain
lower
to
your tax
folks
rate bill?
what it is, yeah. And the other question I had, I'm assuming we'll have this if it's agendized and brought forward in June, is the cost of the efficiency audit? Like what that would look like as a contracted service, or what budget implication that would be?
The resolution has it in it, and that would be in the board book. It's not here, but I can
Okay.
provide that
Well,
figure.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, the night of, as we discuss this and go back and forth, is understanding what the cost of
Sure.
holding the election would be and the efficiency audit. At least that would help me in the decision-making process. And then, I guess two more things, Ms. Halsey. The third being, I'm interested in pursuing the 2 pennies, the 2 golden pennies, which I know is estimated at 2.75. Is there a way that our finance department could extrapolate? I guess I would like to see all 2.75 million, if approved, go to salary and benefits, which is larger than what the board approved during our most recent vote. So I guess hypothetically, what would it look like if with that increased revenue next year, we put all 2.75 towards staff? Hey, does that make sense?
Yes, but I think that is also presupposing that we would automatically get the 2.7 million as soon as it was voted on. Is that true, or would it wait till the next budget cycle?
So in August, if we were to go for 2 golden pennies, we would bring forth a new proposed tax rate, and that would include those 2 golden pennies in hypothetical situation that they are approved in November. So you would see those in the budget.
I mean, the state would pay us immediately as soon as we voted that. We'd get it in next year's cycle.
It would, and we're still in that early stage. We're still working off summer PEEM submissions, and so we're really in the preliminary stage. We're not going to be in a final settle up from the state until well into the school year. I'm talking like April, May timeframe. So if there is an adjustment, if it wasn't successful, those rates would obviously be changed at the state. We wouldn't see added money necessarily, from August or July to November.
Right. So what
So if
you're
it was
asking.
approved, it wouldn't be like recognized immediately.
Right.
Well, if it was approved, it would be recognized.
But not, it wouldn't be retroactive though.
Right, no, it would be
Right.
approved going at that point in time.
So let me see if this makes sense then. What if we went out for this and it was approved, then I think we could reasonably expect to have the money available for the second half of next year.
Reasonably speaking, yes.
And so would it make sense to you then if what we asked administration to do is to project out, in the best case scenario that all happened, how much of an increase could we give to our
Mid-year.
staff members at mid-year?
Yeah, no, whatever timeline that is, I guess personally, my hope or my expectation, and I can't speak for my colleagues, is that if this was approved, if we went through all the, machinations, then the money would go to staff.
Right.
So whatever way administratively that makes the most sense, then.
Would it be like a
We'll
3% mid-year increase if we allocated the whole 2.75 toward staff benefits, and like, what would that look like?
Okay, we can provide that. I don't have it right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's
No.
for a next meeting homework kind of thing. That's all I
Anything
got.
else?
Yeah,
Other
that's-
questions? Super, thank you. Okay, let's move into the agenda preparation and welcome Ms. Lopez to the dais.
You ready?
We will start with the core commitments, call to meeting, pledge allegiance. I am assuming we will not have a student at this meeting since it's June, or will we?
I don't think we have students at this meeting.
Okay, we'll resume that in August. We'll have the election of school board officers, and then we will have a public hearing to discuss the proposed tax rate, as we just discussed, and a public hearing to discuss the proposed budget. Public forum, and then Dr. Cardona with reports and information.
All right, so item A, academics, we removed some academic reports because our data right now is coming in lagging. So Mr. Sanders, as we get data, we'll keep funneling to the board kind of preliminary stuff. But we will have an end-of-year SHAC report by Mrs. Vogel. And then we did this last year, item B, 8B, we will have a public notice of federal grant applications. Mr. Doyle will present that. It's just something legally we have to do for all the grants that we apply for. Item 9, approval of consent agenda items. We'll have item A, approval of minutes of regular scheduled board meeting on May 20th, 2024, and special board meeting on June 3rd, 2027. Again, item 9B, we have done this before. Mr. Doyle will have a presentation. Consider approval of purchasing cooperative interlocal purchasing agreements and state contract lists for 2024, 2025, which just allows us to move quicker, use co-ops to purchase things for schools. Item 9C, consider approval of resolution regarding extracurricular status of 4-H organization and approval of adjunct faculty. We've done this for 8 years now. It's the same 2 people from the Texas A&M Agricultural Extension Center, but we just have to approve them. This is the earliest we're approving them, so this is a good thing. Item 9D, approval of resolution acknowledging review and approval of investment policy and strategy, which is something we've done year over year. Item 9E, consider and possible action to approve architect engineering firm TBD for the ARPA-funded generator project. This is the project for the high school, which will put a permanent generator here in the unfortunate event of a catastrophe in the city. The high school would be the staging for the city. So it would allow us to keep power running here, and we have the most showers, the most foods, the most space. In the event we had to help the city out for anything. And this is something they came through our monthly meetings with Mr. Sandoval and I. It's taken about 2 years to get in place. So I appreciate Mr. Sandoval getting that put in. Item 10, items for action. A, Board of Trustees, consider approval of 2024 board meeting calendar. I think she has sent that. We will also use that, so the board knows we'll use that calendar to train our APs and assistant principals, so we're all kind of in alignment. with what we're doing monthly from the top, so it looks in sync. Item 10A2, discussion and possible action to approve legal services contract with JCA Law P LLC. Item A3, discussion and possible action regarding the police force committee charge and expectation. That was brought forth by Trustee Arredondo. Item 10B, academics, consider approval of SHAC committee members for the 2-year term, 24 to 26. Ms. Vogel will have that for y'all to consider, and she'll be here to answer any questions. Item 10C, procurement, consider and possible action regarding possible delegation of authority to approve guarantee maximum price amendments, purchases, change orders, and other work related to all bond construction projects and/or other construction projects authorized by the school board during the summer break from June 17th, 2024 to August 19th, 2024. This is just to allow Mr. Sandoval and I the ability to move quickly on projects so we could start in July while we don't have it, and that it ends when we come back, so that y'all get a better understanding. We're talking about the high school. The two. Item 10D, finance, consider approval of budget amendments. We have some, we'll have to settle up. Item 2, consider and possible action to adopt a 24-25 budget. Item D3, discussion and possible action to adopt a resolution authorizing administration to enter into consultation agreement with Moat Casey LLC for the purpose of conducting an efficiency audit in accordance with section 11.184 of the Texas Education Code. Item 11, closed session is authorized by section 551.071 and 551.074 of the Texas Education Code and 551.076 of the Texas Government Code. A, discussion regarding superintendent's evaluation. B, deliberation regarding safety security, including safety personnel systems, infrastructure, and/or devices. And we hope to have 2 school marshal candidates to discuss in closed session. Item 12, open session. The board will reconvene from closed session to take action, if necessary, on item discussed in closed session. A, discussion and possible action regarding the superintendent's evaluation. And with that, that is all we have currently.
Anybody have anything that they would like to add? Mr. Arredondo?
So I didn't realize that we were gonna consider 2 school marshals in the executive session item. Can we move, if possible, y'all can figure it out, I don't care, the police force discussion and vote to after executive session? Like if it makes a difference, or, I don't know if there's gonna be like a preference for people to talk about the other thing first. I don't care what order of operations it goes in, is
Well,
what I'm saying.
The board doesn't have to take action on the school marshals anymore once we're behind closed session, so they're kind of separate. We're just trying to,
I guess I'm preemptively teeing up, if anyone is like, well, let's talk about the school marshal thing first. I don't feel comfortable voting on the police force task committee stuff. I'm saying tonight, I don't care in what order it goes on Monday, so.
Wait, why don't we vote on the marshals?
like last time, now y'all kind of do it behind closed doors and.
Oh, okay.
Because they're
I thought
at
you meant
will
we
and
weren't.
po-
Not
yeah,
a public.
yeah.
Right, I just thought you
Yeah.
were saying
They're
that we
not on
weren't.
yeah, they're not on
I understand. Okay. I don't see a problem with
Okay.
the current order.
Okay, that's cool.
No.
No.
I was
Okay.
just putting it out there to the universe in case.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. I have a couple things. We need to add policy review. And so, does anybody have any particular policies that they're interested in looking at, or shall we ask the administration to recommend something to us?
This is like a part of y'all's Team of 8 training thing that y'all
It's
are.
not the Team of 8 training, it was the recommended self-review that the
Okay.
board underwent, and there were several recommendations that came out of that, and one of them was that we spend time at every meeting reviewing our local policies, since that is one of the things that falls under the purview of the board, is setting policies, so that we are familiar with those and make sure that they are consistent with our current values and beliefs and up to date.
Do we have the updated technology policy around phones and headphones and things yet? Okay.
No, that's something we'll bring in August.
Okay.
So we've met with the principals last week, They're gonna work on it over summer with their committees and stuff, so we can, when we do the student code of conduct, you'll have the updated stuff at one time. I don't, is it policy 123 that just came out? That's the latest one coming out, but I don't think it'll be ready by the 17th.
Maybe we should look at whatever policies that we have about, local policies that we have about safety officers. Because I doubt that they actually say anything about school marshals. I don't think that that is written into any policy presently. I'm not sure that it needs to yet be, but maybe that's a place to start, that we look at what do our actual safety and security policy, local safety and security policies say.
I think when y'all approved the school marshals, I think there is a policy that y'all voted on. I need to find it. There was remember it's the one from Abilene ISD, we used their template?
Yeah, so why don't we review that? Let's look at safety and security policies and.
It's in there somewhere under personnel, I think.
And maybe there's more than one, whatever seems to fall under that,
Under the safety area.
yeah, local. Okay, and my other item is something also that came out of that board review, and that is, I would like us to consider having an academic audit done. It's something that I think we haven't done comprehensively since before I was on the board. That's the last time I remember it.
I think 2014,
Yeah.
Stetson and Associates, I think, did the last, remember that's the infamous audit. When I
mean-
came in 2016, it was 2 years old then.
Yeah, I think when Mr. Arredondo and I came onto the board, it had just been done, and it showed us being out of all sorts of vertical and horizontal alignment, which I will expect that we are not in that situation now, but I do think it's been 10 years. And we have a lot of new curriculums, and we have a lot of new people, and it seems like a good project to undertake this summer, so that when people come back in the fall, we have that to add to all of the other things that y'all are putting together to make sure that we're going in the right direction.
Do you want to agendize that, or you want me to do it? Like, get it done, make sure we reach out to
I
like
think that we
Stetson?
need to vote on it in the same way that we're voting on the other audit. But I would like to, find an outside independent auditor to come in the same way that we have had independent auditors do the equity audit, that we're doing the efficiency audit. Seems timely and important to me.
Just so I clarify, do you want us to go out to RFP? Because like with equity, because of the dollar amount, we had to go out to RFP and then we had people submit? Or do you want us to find something under a threshold, a company to then recommend to y'all?
What was the ballpark amount for 2014?
Well, 2014, I don't
was a
know,
long
but it
time ago,
probably was
10 years
about
ago.
Well, I think that's what
18
we'll have to vote on
20,000.
at the meeting, so I think we need to put it on the agenda so that we can vote on it, and as much information as you can bring to that about what it will actually
To
cost.
find out what's the amount that people are charging 10 years
Whether we
now.
need to go out for an RFP to get it done appropriately, or
Mhm.
if there are alternative
Mhm.
ideas. And I think at this moment, that is all I had. Anybody else? Terrific.
Oh, before we,
Were you gonna introduce our principals?
yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Mr. Doyle. I'm in a rush.
Before-
Yes, Mr. Doyle has one other item he would like to add. We do need to add an item. Mr. Doyle, why don't you explain it?
Alrighty, I apologize. This is interesting. So in September 23, the board approved a cash deficiency resolution with the anticipation that we would possibly collect more INS revenue based upon the May bond election. We set our INS rate at that 0.3113. With the changes throughout last summer's legislature, we weren't quite sure if we would have excess. And that was a safeguard to, if we did have excess, we could pay that deficiency. Right now, looking at it, we look like we're collecting enough to make our minimum debt service payment, which is really what you set your INS rate on. So in order to not pay a cash defeasancy payment this month, the board would have to take action to rescind September 2023's resolution to make the cash defeasance payment. So it would include an action item, if you will, for the board to rescind the previous cash defeasancy resolution taken in September.
All right.
So we're-
Thank you.
We're adding that to the agenda.
To the finance portion, number 4. And
Michael,
then back to Dr. Cardona.
All right, so you'll get us that language, right? Yes, sir. All right, all right. All right, we had, sorry, I apologize. We have to make a couple of announcements. We have with us our new principal for Goodnight Middle School, Mr. Joe Mitchell. If you want to come up, Joe, and give us your curriculum vitae. It didn't have to be that formal. You're good. I'm just joking with you.
Well, I just want to say thank you all very much for entrusting me this year. I've hit the ground running the last couple of weeks, and I can tell you, I think this has been a great decision that I've made. The people here already, we had a leadership symposium day 1 today, was awesome. Just seeing the people I'm going to be working with. I've gotten to meet a lot of teachers and students already early on, so I'm very excited. I think we're going to have a great year. I know we talked a lot about all in this morning, which once you get to know me, I know y'all will. I'm all in about everything. I'm all in for the kids. I'm all in for the teachers. And I think I found a home district to be at right now. I came up from right up the road at Hayes, and so I was there for the last 8 years, and so I'm not too far away, but I'm very excited about here. So thank you all very much. And again, I thank y'all for entrusting me with the students here in this school. I'm excited for this year. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome to San Marcos.
And then joining us at Bowie Elementary is Mrs. Scarlett Garcia.
Hi, thank you. Same thing too. Thank you for entrusting me in this position. I am still closing out my school year as we just finished on Thursday, but today was day 1 and I definitely have been hitting the ground running. I've been meeting back and forth with Ms. Thomas. I have some big shoes to fill, but we've definitely been working together. I just live down the street from here. I live in Comal County, so not too far. And so I'm super excited. Same thing, all in. I can't wait to, join, and you get to know me, obviously, but I'm here for our families, for our students, and for our teachers and staff too as well. So thank you very much for that.
Welcome. Thank you. Welcome to San Marcos.
That is it, Madam President.
All right.
Motion to adjourn, Ms. Halsey.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Enjoy that birthday.
Thank you. Hold on one second.